I have your attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey everybody, welcome back to PulseChain Independence Day. We're only, by my count, about 4 hours away from the end of the 7th of July, which is when we're expecting the end of the SEC appeal. Obviously, we'd have to get some letters and stuff like that. We're going to check that out later on. So let's see how that gets on. Only 4 hours away. I'm feeling pretty highly probable that it's just going to fall away into the dustbin of history. So yeah. PulseChain Independence Day. Woohoo! Let's go. Hexcavator's in the house there. Hey gang, good to see Hexcavator. Big shout out to you. And of course, let's get out. Let's get the old link over for X, and don't forget to repost that as well. Share the show. Share show on X. Yeah, let's go. Bam. All right, let's play that up. Bam. All right, we got Ores in the house there. Woohoo! Get the fire lit. That's the way to go. I like that, Ores. And, of course, Wookie's in the house there. Time is up. Let's go, Hex. Absolutely, Wookie. I 100% agree with that. Definitely like and share, says Excavator. Appreciate that. Big shout out, Excavator. And, of course, TJ in the house there. We will be here for the God candles. That's right. We will. We might hear from Richard later on, TJ. We might hear from Richard later on about that. God mode candles. We got Sean O'Malley in the house there. Let's go. Let's get up and about it. Woo! Let's go. Absolutely, man. Happy PulseChain Independence Day. About 4 hours to go by my count for the end of the day. And maybe we'll get a posting on the legal securities site after that. So keep a lookout for that. And yeah, maybe it will just be we don't do anything or nothing happens. It just lapses. So we'll see. All right. What else are we going to say? Yeah, let's get into it. Let me just pin the show to the top of X. If you haven't followed on X, definitely give it a follow. We're going to be talking about a few things today. So obviously the markets. We're going to go through stocks, crypto, PulseChain. Obviously on a bit of a pullback today around Trump's tariffs around Japan, South Korea, and then we're also going to get into obviously PulseChain. A lot around PulseChain. Obviously around PulseChain Independence Day with the SEC. Around the markets. We're going to get into the bridge, PulseChain bridge, give you the latest update on that. Going to also get into the monster thread. We're going to finish with the monster thread that just got released. Obviously, that's a publication from the Kryptonite Show. MVS Crypto is our editor-in-chief and does a fantastic job with that. And, of course, that is all the best of the last news, of the news in the last week. It's got everything. You got people doing artwork, you got people doing NFTs, you got people doing DeFi, you got everything out there. You got Richard Hart and Wales and everything else in there. This fantastic roundup of everything that happened in the PulseChain over the last week on X. So pretty awesome. So you guys got to read it. We'll get to it at the end and go through a bit of the highlights on that one. So hope you guys enjoy it. And we've got a lot of great project teams in there as well. I think we got a new launch today from Rage and Crypto Bros. So we're going to check that out too. Get raging over there on Nexian Farms. Who else is Brian's in the house? Hey, Brian. Good to see Brian as well. I don't know where's Hexhog's around. Oh, Hexhog's here just as I spoke the name. And Hexhog appears. How about that? Just like a wild SJ. And Hexhog appears there. Pretty cool. All right. Without further ado, let's get into it and see where we're going. And we've got Infinite Me again. But let's get into, I wanted to talk about quickly, I know we're going to talk about that later on, so we'll talk about that later on. But let's get into into the stocks, and we got stock sell-off, dollar gains as Trump plans 25% tariffs on Japan and South Korea. Now, you guys know I've been mentioning Japan and South Korea for some time as two likely countries that would do deals, but they are actually tending out to be, a bit tough on the tough side for Trump to get deals with, so he's put more pressure on them and so forth. So you got to remember, what are the big three problems? And the big three problems, of course, is the U.S. trade deficit. This is in goods. Obviously, Trump, the United States is a services net exporter, but they're a net importer of physical goods. And that's actually more important, right, in the day and age at the moment, because obviously, services aren't going to protect you. They aren't going to give you all those high-paying manufacturing jobs, right? So That's very important there. Now, obviously, the way that this would look is that um, Trump has to deal with about $1.2 trillion in trade deficit and physical goods. He also has to deal with the budget deficit, which is about $2 trillion, just over $2 trillion. Half of that is interest costs. And he also has to deal with the federal debt or public debt, which is $37 trillion, right? So those are the three big problems that he's trying to fix up from an economic point of view. And so with the trade deals, of course, he's trying to deal with all that trade deficit, and of course, he's been playing pretty hardball using all the leverages of America, which is as the net importer have the natural power, right? They have the natural power because the other countries are the ones that are benefiting from that that deficit the US is running, right? So that makes the consumer, which is the United States, in the box seat, and so he's putting a lot more pressure to get things done there, particularly around non-trade tariff barriers, right? So that's kind of cool. The other thing, of course, with the trade barriers, particularly around the 10% line, he's wanting to accumulate more money, right, to pay off probably either give back to the American people or to pay off public debt. So we're going to see how that all plays out. But he has talked about that today, about focus on that 37 trillion. And I've said this before that he has plans to pay down that debt. And man, that would be huge. The market would absolutely love that. Keep a lookout for that. That is a big deal. But he's going to deal with all those three problems, and of course, with the one big bill we've talked about, beautiful bill we've talked about the last couple of days. He's going to not just hit 1.8% like the CBO office, but actually hit probably 3 or 4% minimum, is my guess, which would be unbelievable rates. We probably haven't seen that, as far as I know, since about the 1950s, 60s, and I think that he's probably going to do that and maybe even more. 5% growth is not out of the ballpark, even higher. It could be like China and the developing nations there. There's definitely room for that if he does everything that we've been talking about him doing. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see that. But let's target 3 or 4%. That will get you to trade surpluses. And we saw Scott Bessent talk about that yesterday. Trade surpluses, and of course, this all looks like they are very carefully without. They're not saying it too much because they don't want to front run themselves, right? Because they've got to deliver. It's easy to deliver stuff when you've got all that firepower ready, and so they're just accumulating the firepower, and that's going to happen over the next 6 to 18 months, in particular, laying the foundation for that. And then we might see some real good surprises. The market's going to eat that up when you get a better balance sheet in the United States. So keep a lookout for that. So it's pretty exciting. We've got Crypto Utah in the house there. Congratulations, everybody in RHX system. You held through the pure brutality, says Crypto Utah. I like that. A big shout out to Crypto Utah out there as well. I think it's time you hit me up for a show, Crypto Utah, and let's talk about a few things that are going on in your area. It'd be pretty good. We got Hexcavator in the house there with this big fist pump. I love it. Love the attitude today. Yeah, PulseChain Independence Day. Let's go. Anyway, so stock market at the moment, we got Dow Jones down 1%, 422 points to 44,400. We got the S&P 500 down 0.8%, 50 points to 6,229. And we got the NASDAQ with all the tech companies in it down 0.9%, 189 points to 20,412. So a bit of a breather there. US dollar is devalued as well, 0.25% to 97 on the index versus its trading partners. Remember, that was 108 when Trump came into power on the 20th of January. So there we go. Commodities, let's look at those. We got West Texas at 67.70. We got Brent oil about $70. Both of those are down about a third today. Gold is actually up 0.1%, $3 to 3,346. And silver finally is up 1/5%, 8 cents to 70. Let's say $37 rounded. And that is where we are on the commodities. Now, what we're expecting through the golden age of America and the boom that we're expecting ahead, well, we're expecting the commodities to all run in value, right? Because they're going to be in more demand. And of course, more commodities are going to be hunted in the ground. So, because Trump's doing a big balance sheet thing, and you're going to hear more about that over the years ahead, right? So that's obviously tapping into the balance sheet of America is going to take time to do, but they're racing. It's going to be racing. And what's really started that? The one big beautiful bill, right? 100% expensing of capital items within the first year. That's going to be massive. So we're expecting an absolute boom. And it's going to be absolutely incredible, guys. Really, really incredible. And of course, that's going to tap into the balance sheet the United States as well. So when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about all the potential assets that are available to the United States to monetize. We're talking about the Gulf of America, all the assets down there, oil and gas and things like that. Talking about under the ground, talking about more oil, gas, minerals, particularly rare earths. There's particularly one rare earth deposit in the United States that will probably be developed because obviously that's fundamental to modern technology. And then, of course, on the coast, the east and west coast, developing there. Potentially, obviously, Alaska up there with the Anwar deposits may be as big, if not bigger, than Saudi Arabia oil deposits there up there. And then, of course, any expansion to the greater America, right? The greater America being maybe Alberta secedes, maybe Saskatchewan secedes as well. And, of course, it separates there from their federal states and joins the United States. Maybe also Greenland comes into the fray as well over the Trump era. And of course, we get to what we call the greater America, right? So that could be happening as well. And I think those will all be quite complementary to the American society without being, in stark contrast, for example. So that is some of the things we might actually see there. So let's see where we go. So at the moment, what else are we going to say about that? Yeah, so Trump there, obviously telling trading partners Japan and South Korea. Now we're expecting more trade deals from the top 10. Obviously, we've got also this state here. So the U.S. tariffs will start on August the 1st. So he's giving them a little bit more time and putting the pressure on them to get a deal done, right? So that's really the go there. These are some of the last big economies that he needs to pressure into getting a good deal. We saw that today Israel, of course, is doing a no tariff, non-tariff deal. We'll see how much non-tariff is, but that's what they've talked about doing today. And then there, of course, with Trump and the White House. So that is moving pretty positive there. Trade, inflation, and earnings are going to be the next three catalysts that will drive the markets higher or lower. Obviously, trade is probably going to end up being very good. And then inflation, of course, is probably going to be very good too because Trump is matching demand shock with supply expansion. And so that will probably not be a problem at all. In fact, that will just make him more popular. And then earnings will also be ramping up there, especially with 100% expensing and things like that. So we're expecting a lot more stuff. And of course, with the tax bill, people have got more money in their pockets, and so therefore they'll be able to buy more too. So that's the play. And of course, with inflation lowering, that means they're going to have more discretionary income in their pockets. We already see that the only periods where real wages have increased are under President Trump, under the last president since Nixon. So this is, there's good evidence for where we're heading here, and it's going to be bigger and brighter than when President Trump was in as President 45. So it's going to be pretty exciting there. But markets are certainty. That in today's news increased the level of uncertainty, hence the sell-off. So we're going to have a little bit of the sell-off all the way through this month. Obviously, clearly, Trump, we're expecting a little bit more firmness here today. We're obviously expecting around 12 letters to go out to countries. And of course, we're expecting things obviously move around a little bit there, so we're going to have to be flexible with that. But this month is super bullish for crypto, super bullish for the economy, and what we're at around. We're going to have still volatile this month, right? Because until he gets all the deals settled, then the markets are still going to move up and down. We're going to have good news, down news, so it's still going to got that volatility. But I think by the time we get to September, a lot's going to ride on that for the altcoin season is the interest rate cuts. There's a lot of pressure on Jerome Powell. Obviously, Trump looking to roll Jerome Powell as well, and we're expecting not only 2 rate cuts but maybe quite large rate cuts. We're at 4.5%. Normally it's a 1-to-1. So if we get down to 2.5%, which is around where the inflation rate is, inflation's definitely been lower than they thought. Obviously, with the fear of so-called tariffs have not really shown up in the inflation. If anything, prices are going down. And of course, employment has stayed relatively good. We got a good jobs report as well. The only really weakness was the negative quarter in GDP in the first quarter, but that may not last either. So there's a lot of pressure there for the rate cuts. Obviously, to me, it's very clearly political. Why Jerome Powell? Obviously, there's multiple presidents in the Federal Reserve that make that decision, but obviously there's a pecking order, right, and pressure. So we'll see, and of course, ideological capture with the old Democrats. So and there's a few phone calls in the back room, with good old Pelosi or somebody like that. So let's see where that all lands. But not too bad today. Obviously, a little bit of pullback after having a couple good days. Let's go to crypto and check out that, see how the market's going there. And which way are we going here? We're going to this screen. I don't know. We're going to this screen. I'm just trying to remember what screen I'm on here. So yeah, we've got crypto at the moment sitting at 3.41 trillion, down 4.2%. We've got 17,576 coins on CoinGecko. The top mover at the moment is a Bitcoin. And how does that look on the screen? Is that big enough? I think it is. Bitcoin 808,264, holding up real nice. We're getting ready. We're just loading up for that next big push. We're at down 0.8% at the moment. We got Ethereum there is down 1% at $2,543. We got XRP down 0.2%, $2.27. BNB at number 5, down 0.1% at $660. Solana down 1.7% at $148. We got Tron at number 8, down 0.1% at 28.6 cents. So not much of a movement in a lot of these top leaders. Doge there down 2.3% at 16.8 cents. Those are our top 10 along with Lido. So there we go. Best performer over the last 24 hours. Well, it's got to be BNB and Tron. They're only down 0.1%, almost flat. And of course, over the last week, the best performer has been Tron, up 2.4%, followed pretty closely by Ethereum, obviously, and Lido. So there we go. Those are the top 10. Looking at the top 100, we've got Bonk again. So meme coins have been pretty dominant, along with a few AI coins and blockchain coins. So yeah, Celestia there at number 2, up is sitting at rank number 86, is up 13% for the week. Next DC Network is also up 11.4%, followed by Story IP, which has just entered the top 100 from the looks of it, sitting at number 100 there. Story IP is up 8.8%, and then number 5 is Hedera or HBAR, and that's up 5% for the week as well. Those are our top performers, but really only Bonk standing out particularly good there, up 55%. So not too bad, sitting at number 58 now too. So there's some of the themes. Top gainers, we've had Mincore, Vixion, and AMO Coin is in the top 1,000, right? So they're all up pretty nicely to 71, 74, 44%. Let's have a quick look at Mincore. It's one of our new sections of our show, of course. Only been around since the 3rd of July, so not very long at all. And obviously on the move. It's on a BNB chain. Let's have a look at the website quickly, just to see a look. Sometimes, some of those things might be of interest to people. See why is it a top coin at the moment? First layer 1 blockchain, especially built for meme 2.0. Are you ready to meme? Well, that's kind of a cool idea. So let's have a look. Are we ready to meme? There we go. We've got ecosystem, eco-fund. Oh, that's kind of fun. Yeah, so I wonder if you can interact with that. Doesn't seem like you can, but you got the ecosystem, you got an eco-fund, eco-funner. That's a little bit dodgy. We're not Democrats here. I'm not even American, so there we go. That makes it. We've got Memex there. We've got building docs and stuff like that. Ecosystem, let's quick look at that. Submit your project. Memecore ecosystem is a hub of collaboration. So it's got a bit of fun there. It's kind of very crypto edgy, isn't it? So yep, you can check that out. So that is Memecore, and it is sitting at right number. Just launched the last couple of days, 251. Let's see what happens to that. Sometimes these little sneakers, right? And there's always some coins that are rising up through the ranks. Maybe this will have enough kudos. Once again, you've got to do a lot of due diligence. But it's got possibilities. This one here certainly moved up to 251, so that's a pretty high rank already. And it's only just launched, so we'll see how. I don't know what the token distribution, all that good stuff is, but maybe that's got some potential there on the old meme coin thing. So maybe it's worth checking out. Vixion, let's have a look at that. Vixion, been around since July last year. We've had so many coins that we've looked at lately, haven't you noticed, that have been around since July last year? I'm not sure what was happening last year, but Vixion is a people-centered layer 1 blockchain that provides zero gas transactions and item security, sitting at number 803. So there we go. And it's had a big pump today because it was all the way down at 15.6 cents and it's gone to 30 cents. So basically a 2x almost, 90% for sure. And let's have a look at this. Is what it's on its own chain, of course. Let's have here. Building an open source world where humanity flourishes. Layer 1 is drive and the impact, what people know, blah, blah, blah. Vision there, we've got fueling innovation. So that is a new one there. It's got an ecosystem map, no doubt. Ecosystem landscape. Let's have a quick look at that. It's got a lot of protocols on there. Obviously, a lot of shared protocols. But that is Vixion. Okay. So there it is, number 803. And then finally, we're going to have a look at AMO Coin. That's up 46% today. recently migrated from an old contract to a new contract from there. It looks like it's been around since July last year as well. I'm not sure why these all had lots of these lately. Where it started at 0007 is now at 1200. So 1200 to the penny now. And it's a blockchain infrastructure designed for the efficient exchange and sharing of all car data, powered the next generation of automobiles. There we go. And that, I'm not sure which chain that's on, but it is. And has it got a website? No, it's got a Kaizen star, but that is out there at the moment. Ammo coin, so it's at number 1,000. So it's up 150% and just hit number 1,000. So it's at the very top of the list, which is kind of funny. All right, that leads us into trending coins. We've obviously got Bonk trending, Solana trending, and Hyperliquid trending. Not surprised by that list at all. So those trending. Recently, of course, we had Bitcoin and others trending, right? But today, those are trending at the moment. So that is the crypto market, 3.41 trillion, down 4%, but Bitcoin holding really nicely. And of course, getting ready to rumble, right? Getting ready to rumble as we go through the rest of the trade month here. We're going to have Crypto Week right coming up mid-July, so it's only about a week away. So we're going to have the Genius Act, the Clarity Act, the Non-CBDC Act, and of course that's going to be huge around stablecoins. I cannot understate that. I said the other day, it's going to be massive, guys. And of course, that's going to be massive demand for the US securities because it's going to be US backed instead of a CDBC. Central currency. It's going to be backed, decentralized currencies backed by Treasury, US Treasuries, US dollar, which is massive demand for the US dollar and makes it even more of a reserve currency. So, and Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, talked about $2 trillion. And of course, man, this is massive, right? So remember, the crypto market's only 3.4. So that's massive, guys. It's going to be huge. And a lot of that's going to route through Circle because it's regulated, right, in the United States. And so that's going to be on Ethereum chain, right? Big time there. The other big chain that's done pretty well, is obviously all the foreign chains that are using, USD Tether and stuff like that. And of course, DAI, right? So keep a lookout for that. That could bode very well. Obviously, we've got all our coins on a PulseChain. We've obviously got USDC, so it's going to be potentially a lot of dollars are going to come into the system. That's all going to route through into PulseChain as well. We're going to be one of the beneficiaries for sure for that. And the other side of it is that we've got 4 liquidity forks, right? So they're all backed by our native coins, so they should get an indirect lift, let's say, from any USDC boom. And of course, the other one is the Coast, right, which is based on US dollars and euros and stuff like that anyway. So that's going to be pretty normal, but they're all going to get that sort of sentiment boost. And then of course, potentially we've got maybe a full algorithmic stablecoin, which would be a nice alternative in that because self-generate capital. But really, we want things that are scalability, that are going to increase the circulating supply. And of course, these liquidity forks don't really do that. They're great, give you great stability. And of course, Coast gives you a great way of on-ramping. But we want something that's really going to be easily scalable. And so we do need an algorithmic stablecoin. Anyone who can get that will be hitting the holy grail. That's why we're big supporters of Jacob's flagship product, which is what we call it. I call it that. Cult DeFi calls it that, and that is because it could be the holy grail of algorithmic stablecoins like Terra Luna, but done right with the stability miner. So that's why we're backing that. We saw it on the testnet, worked very well. So obviously, if it gets traded in real world, we're looking for some pretty similar results. So that's going to be exciting to see that. Now, obviously, with liquidity forks, is about 35, I think, maybe even up to 40, but I think it's around 35 liquidity forks out there, and 4 of them on PulseChain, and they're actually in the top 10. So they're really, PulseChain's stable coin for using liquidity, which is really, probably one of the best stablecoin, decentralized stablecoins is that's collaterally backed is huge, right? So PulseChain, PulseChain's got this little successes people don't even think about, but that is definitely a success for the chain, and it's early days, right? Early days too, and that's under all the pressure that PulseChain's been under with the SEC and things like that. But now, of course, it's PulseChain Independence Day, so we're going to celebrate that. All right, so there we go on the markets. Let's jump over to Bitcoin. Everyone loves a bit of Bitcoin. I don't know why I'm overpronouncing it, but Bitcoin there. Obviously, we had the big tax bill, the one big beautiful bill, the OBBBB, and the market's been pretty flat since then because it kind of rallied into that. So we've had that price. Obviously, we're expecting a little more around tax stuff today with the trades around, particularly on the 9th. So Monday to the 9th there. Obviously, we're expecting 12 letters. I'm not sure if those letters have come out yet, but we definitely had the news around South Korea and Japan, and more pressure being put on them to make deals, because otherwise they're going to face just a letter from President Trump says if you want to do deals, this is the premium you're going to pay. So it's in their interest to do a deal. So that's kind of the logic there. But that means that we're going to have a bit more volatility into July, right? So coming up, obviously, we talked about that on the 15th of July is stablecoins. So that's going to be huge. Obviously, we've also got the PulseChain conference on there. RH Max is running that. I will be on that too, by the way, on day 2, talking about the monster threads. So and all the cool stuff happening in the community. So that's coming up there too. We've got trade deal announcements. Obviously, we're going to get more of those. And then what are we up to here? We got obviously the SEC final day is today. And let's see where else we're going there. Mid August, obviously a trade deal's pretty much been done with China. Not expecting too much things happening there. The only thing I would say is that apparently President Xi has been missing at a lot of big events. They say that he's conflicted and busy, but there is a lot of talk about him losing or getting weaker in his leadership in China. So we'll keep a tabs on that too. All right, so what else we got going? We got interest rate cuts, like I said, in September, and probably more likely to be a lot more aggressive. I think there is a lot of pressure mounting. Is that pressure mounting big enough to offset any sort of Democrat setup? We shall see. And there we get to. And then, of course, in September, October, we've got more crypto regulations and reports coming out. So we're going to have more fun there in crypto. So crypto stuff's going to come out in installments into the next year, right? So look forward to all those things benefiting crypto. And that will include, neutral net buying of Bitcoin and the altcoin stockpile, because obviously Trump administration with their digital strategy, they want to accumulate more crypto, obviously around stablecoins coming up this month, and then obviously around Bitcoin and altcoins, they want to accumulate that too. So going to be pretty interesting there. Fat Sammy in the house there. Yo, good to see you, Fat Sammy. Hey, I loved your video today, Fat Sammy. If you haven't checked it out, Fat Sammy's got a video of him on the beach, and it's a really cool one. So well done. But Fat Sammy's doing a great video series there. And of course, leading the pack there with the good old Pulse Bitcoin. So check him out today. All right, so that's pretty much it. Let's have a look at the actual prices. Prices of Bitcoin at the moment, we're sitting at $105,000 on the 50 day, and 95,655 on the 200 day. So we're going up really nicely. That moving average, getting ready to move to a new high. Kind of cool. And like I say, September really, I think, has to be the time. And the reason why interest rates are so important is because obviously Trump's really dealing with the physical side of the economy, but the financial side is being hamstringed a little bit. We have seen a little bit of rate decreases because the bond market's not really convinced by the Federal Reserve. And so we have seen those suppressed a little bit, or at least pushed down, I should say, is the right word. But really want that federal funds rate to lower, so that not only public debt gets refinanced a lot cheaper, but the U.S. economy will really boom big time, because people will have a lot less costs and even be able to borrow more, and not have such big high payments. So, and that will fuel more demand. And obviously with Trump's doing this big supply side expansion, that will keep inflation low. So that's the whole play, right? So getting those rates down is going to mean that there's very low return on having safe risk investments. And therefore the market will want to take on risky investments, which means more stock market, more crypto, right? That's essentially that. So, and the boom could be huge. The timing is also pretty awesome in the cycle for crypto. So September, it's all lining up pretty nicely. So September really, if we don't get a move in before that, even with all the good news that we're getting, September really should be that call. And so everyone's going to be looking at that September rate cut pretty big, for a big rally into December, right? And maybe January, February, March next year as well. Obviously, we're with a few pullbacks on the way. But that's kind of where we're looking for that big banana call, right? And a big acceleration. It's going to be fast. It's going to happen fast, right? The price appreciation happen fast. Once we move, it's going to be pretty aggressive. So just remember that, and you get left behind pretty fast when it does actually move. All right, so that is the play there. Let's jump over to the next section of the show and move away from there. And so, bam, we're going to get into PulseChain. Now, I wanted to get into a little bit of this Richard stuff. We saw this big Bitcoin whale move 80,000 Bitcoin and all sort of stuff. Moved 10,000 lots, 10,000 Bitcoin lots, which I thought was kind of interesting. We got who is the Bitcoin whale? So I pushed this out here. We got the BTC that is on the move today. Appears to be from a single miner from 2011. So that was from Conor Grogan, I think the CEO from was it Coinbase. And so he put out a post here, and we're going to have a quick check of that. And so you can see BTC that is on the move today appears to be from a single miner from 2011. And of course, if you watch all the videos of Richard Hart talking about mining Bitcoin, he was consistent over all his videos about mining in Q1 2011, right? Obviously, he was retired. He had already done a successful, marketing sales business, and he was, hanging around on Reddit and all the back channels and things like that, and got picked up on this. Now, one particular video also indicates that he may have, been a bit earlier, even a bit earlier than that, which is typically the way, right? You sort of hear about something, and then you sort of, you're coming back and forth, and then Richard says that he ended up meeting the main guy that was doing like the template setup for mining Bitcoin back in the day in 2011, which is still pretty early. And so, at that time you're having 50 Bitcoin blocks, right? And so there weren't that many people around. You could mine on your own computer. Richard was moving, to the faster ones with the little, I guess, the PC graphic cards, and then ended up getting his template and started, in Richard's words, setting up to mine even more Bitcoin. And so that was probably doing that, and my estimation, around February 2011. And so that would fit pretty well with this whale. So it doesn't mean that this whale that's who it is, because there's other people mining back then as well. But it's we are some well-known people, right? So anyway, this is the old snapshot of the 50 Bitcoin blocks that were being won. And one video that was mentioned was Ivan on Tech talking about, with Richard Hart, interviewing Richard Hart, talking about, you were mining about 4 blocks a day, which would have been about 200 Bitcoin a day. Richard's only I've only ever heard him say that he's winning several blocks, winning multiple blocks every few hours was kind of more the words that Richard's used. So yeah, I mean, if you annualize that into 2011, it's quite possible that you could earn a couple 100,000 blocks, at least 100,000, if not 150,000 blocks. And of course, Richard also has talked about buying Bitcoin and riding up to $30, and all going back down to 30 cents kind of thing. And so he's also buying Bitcoin. So Richard could definitely have a lot. He's the sort of person that would probably hodl Bitcoin, because he sees the long plays, always consistently kind of had a long play view. Not to say he doesn't move stuff around, but that would suggest that it's one thing mining Bitcoin back then, but actually holding it, holding on to it, right? Because if it goes from 30 cents to $17, you're pretty excited. Oh wow, my gosh, it's made so much, and you sell your Bitcoin, right? And of course, you used to have to sell it by email and all sorts of stuff, right? Different things. But there's some of the play. But Richard, may very well have just kept it there. He had plenty of money, so he didn't need to sell it. And so that was kind of the play there. Obviously, with the rumors about Richard. So now, what does it mean? Well, in 2016, Richard also has mentioned that in 2016 he was mining Ethereum, right? Also mining Ethereum. And so the funny question is obviously since then, with Bitcoin Hex, and of course Hex, Richard turned on Bitcoin because of all the inflation bugs. He was very upset about all that, and so he started mining Ethereum in 2016. And of course, he's also had all the copies of the copies, right? So anyone that's forked, arguably, if he was still holding all his coins on Ethereum and Bitcoin, then he'd have all the other copies, Bitcoin Cash and things like that. And so, is Richard potentially? Let's assume that all that is what actually has happened, and he still holds them all. Could he be the biggest whale on most of the top coins in crypto, which would presumably, potentially, I mean, if he has 300,000 Bitcoin, for example, which is some of the talk, and that's funny enough, a very similar to number of what we got claimed through the AA lobby. I remember in May or June or something of 2020, we had one particular Bitcoin claim was about 48,000 Bitcoin, which I thought was particularly large, because when at the beginning of the AA lobby, I didn't actually expect us to get that much Bitcoin free claim as at all, and we ended up over 300. I can't remember the exact number, but it surprised me at the time. And so yeah, it's it's fun to see where this all lands. So if that is all the case there, and obviously this is the bullish scenario, right? So taking into account what Richard has said, a little bit of back stuff, that could be where we are. So the funny thing is, if you take that to its full logical conclusion, then is he on the rich list of just about all the major coins? And he's just sitting there laughing because that would be the implication, right? So yeah, rich list. Not only do we have the sacrifice funds, of course, sitting at number three on the strategic Bitcoin reserve, but we also, which has about 1% of all the supply, right? Because a lot of supply is sitting on Lido and Maker and all that sort of stuff, right? Then that's pretty huge, right? Pretty huge. How much he actually has in Ethereum himself, and Bitcoin Cash, and all the other forks that were out there. It could be pretty silly, right? So, some interesting thoughts there. So that is the move, and of course, the wallets have been moved to 2011. Now, a lot of these wallets have been moving. Like back then, they were moving a lot. Like they were repositioning a lot of crypto. So that was some pretty interesting stuff there. Now, obviously, the other people that have been around is, Ross Ulrich, right? A guy that's just come out of prison that got a pardon from Trump. This guy obviously was around Silk Road, and he was a miner, right? So he was a mining, and he recently randomly got from the account, got a $31 million amount of Bitcoin, right, to Ross Ulrich there. And of course, he was mining back in 2010, right? So is there something going on there too? Is right. So he got 300 bitcoins given to him from the big wallet. The channel analysis has reasonable grounds to suspect the funds originated in Alpha Base. So you got this thing going on as well, and he was definitely back in 2010, part of that crew. And then of course we have Roger Ver, right? Roger Ver, which has interviews with Richard Wright. They know each other. Obviously, Roger Ver is a pretty aggressive guy as well. He's very cool. He did Bitcoin Cash. He was going around there. And of course, he was part of all those, Bitcoin wars. So Roger Ver, that's not coming up for some reason, but they're talking about him. Was he potentially the whale behind the $8 billion move? So that is pretty interesting, right? Is Roger Ver the Satoshi era Bitcoin whale behind the $8 billion BTC transfer? Well, the Satoshi era Bitcoin whale waking up after 14 years of dormancy and moving over 80,000 Bitcoins worth 8 billion. Of course, speculation is ripe that Bitcoin evangelist Roger Ver is behind these transfers. So there are a few candidates, right? There are a few candidates. The interesting part, of course, is that with the PulseChain Independence Day, it's a very interesting time to move these coins all of a sudden. And so, yeah, isn't that interesting? And also, we saw some big whale moves, not just on Bitcoin, but on Ethereum as well. So, that feeds in pretty nicely, potentially into the Richard Hart. But we also got, recent events with Roger Ver and Ross Ulrich, of course, all facing the prisons and the courts and all that sort of stuff unfairly, of course. And that is the play. Now, many of you may have watched Roger Ver going around doing Bitcoin Cash videos all over the world, because Bitcoin Cash was going to be the true cash. Of course, he's been out and about doing all sorts of stuff. So yeah, after 14 years of dormancy, of course, the Satoshi era Bitcoin whale woke up, moving a total of 80,000 Bitcoin, worth a massive 8.6 billion. The Bitcoins in question last moved in May 2011, just months after Ver reportedly entered the Bitcoin space in February. Now, I think that they've got hit that he moved into February. So the timing of Richard Hart and Roger Ver are very similar expectations. So, Q1, this wallet's around February 2011. So they're very similar time. And so, yeah, it is interesting to see which one. I also have seen some comments that Roger Ver was even slightly later. Slightly later. So yeah, Ver was released from bail from a Spanish prison on June the 5th, shortly before the dormant coins were observed moving. While there's no direct confirmation of Ver's involvement, 10x Research noted that he will certainly have billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. Roger Ver, often referred to as Bitcoin Jesus, and we've known that for some time. Yesterday's development jitters across the entire crypto space. Bitcoin down, of course, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Coinbase product chief tosses probability of Bitcoin hack as well. And that is from Coinbase, Conor Grogan. But now Conor Grogan has gone from that hack or exchange through to the fact that it was an OG miner. And that is that last post. So it's kind of interesting stuff, right? So, there's a few different options there, a few different narratives that you can pin to it. And of course, wouldn't it be cool if that narrative, which, it's not unreasonable, that it's Richard Hart and doing some moves. But then, Richard Hart's there was an attempt through a lot of his wallet movements to be quite secretive too. And we know Richard Hart's very, does his best or is very good at moving stuff around as best as he can with privacy preferred. So that is the play there. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. And of course, we have this video, right? This video. Yeah, so 300,000 Bitcoin was moved, to mint hex in the contract. So we talk about OA and sacrifice wallet and stuff, but of course Richard Hart himself, would have minted coins that were non-OA, and so I thought the number was very, very high with the Bitcoin minting. I didn't expect a lot at the time of the AA. If you'd been back then, I'm sure you would have agreed that even though a lot of the big wallets had been excluded, a lot of the big wallets that Richard didn't like would have been excluded. I still didn't expect a lot of Bitcoin free claims. Right, there was a lot of stuff around there. A lot of negativity, obviously. Brennan says prison has paid Roger with delayed gratification. Apparently, that is true there. Trev says that it would be incredible if the BTC movement could be attributed to Rich Hart. No idea what it means, though. Well, we speculated on that yesterday when I talked a bit briefly about this topic, and that is, that imagine if you could take wrap Bitcoin. So remember on Ethereum, this is just a theory, right? This is a theory, but it's a good one. And it definitely has some legs that you could do it. You have to set it up in a certain way, I guess. But it's the idea that there are coins out there that are non-redeemable, right? That get asset backed and non-redeemable. So that's the approach that I think you would probably take, because that creates value very quickly. The other way of doing it would be having something with a multiplier effect, which that probably takes a bit more thinking about. But it's. We've obviously got this, Bitcoin. Obviously, there's about 19.8 million Bitcoin, right? So, and then on the Ethereum chain, there's this wrap Bitcoin, right? So it's a custodial wrap Bitcoin. So it's backed by real Bitcoin from the real blockchain, but it's on the Ethereum chain, and it gets, it's got custodial, so it's been looked after by a group, and then of course people can, issue and redeem that wrap Bitcoin, right? So that wrap Bitcoin is, I think this last time I checked, it was about 135,000, somewhere in that ballpark on a wrap Bitcoin over on Ethereum. And that, of course, back in the day when PulseChain forked Ethereum on the 10th of May, 2023, that was copied over to PulseChain. We've obviously seen some interesting, funny mints and stuff like that happen on PulseChain. Now there's about 155,000 Bitcoin on the PulseChain side, the wrap Bitcoin. We've seen that recently rally to about $770. Now that stuff there, these are some of the fork coins, were some of the ones that we're going to really excited about, see where they would go in value. But imagine having someone that had that much Bitcoin, up to 300,000 Bitcoin, let's say, back up that one for one. So you get that all back to 1-to-1, but not redeemable. Not redeemable, because you could imagine Richard would never put up his stuff for redeemability, but you had that back, and then the gap between value. What is the gap between value? Is trust, right? So it's just like anything. I mean, you think about any crypto out there's like trust, then you have that gap, and then the market sort of re-rates that price up into a Bitcoin value, and suddenly wrap Bitcoin on PulseChain becomes, through market psychology, becomes, a peg to the Bitcoin price, at least a good part of it, potentially. And so that's kind of some of the logic there that you could do. Now, the other model is a bit more, even more speculative, which is a multiplier model, which would create even a lot more wealth. But yeah, you have to think a bit more about that. But yeah, pretty crazy stuff. 5555. Yeah, so that is one of the theories out there, and that could definitely be something doable. And then that would shock the markets. Honestly, the markets would just would actually be crazy. Now, obviously, there's other formats you could do. Sitting around, other lending protocols, right, which is kind of the general thing that a lot of people consider. But there are, collateralized matching models. We'll see. It's definitely an area we should explore more. I'm just going to play a bit more of this video. Yeah, they minted their own hex for free, of course, with the 300,000 Bitcoin. And so, yeah, I mean, the question is, of course, is there a UXTO signature or something like that out there tied to some of these wallets? So it's a long time ago since we were doing all that stuff, but yeah, it'd be pretty interesting to see that. All right. All right. So that is kind of interesting. Let's jump out of there. So that is some of the stuff there. I thought that would be a cool topic. Who is the Bitcoin whale? Yeah, I know you can't hear the video because I haven't got it feeding through. It's the one problem I'm having on the studio, but we'll get there. All right, so let's move on from there. I want to talk about PulseChain Independence Day. Now, by my count, it's in New York, right? So in New York, there are how many hours? There are 3 hours to go for the end of the 7th of July, which was the 60-day period, right, that we're expecting it to end. So yes, Nuclear Herbs, which is he's a lawyer that's been in the space, similar space to the sort of SEC work, and he goes, yes, the SEC appeal deadline is 11:59 p.m. tonight. No legal advice, just be crystal clear there. So that's about 3 hours. Now, I don't know whether they have to post a letter to the courts saying, yeah, we're not appealing, or they just don't appeal and it just falls over because they missed the deadline. So the appeal would be, bring something new. Something new isn't the way I'm understanding it. Obviously, you can find out all the details from Nuclear Herbs. However, just because Richard Hart's SEC case is over doesn't necessarily mean his attorneys have advised him everything is cool and he can stream if he wants, either the ones dealing with SEC or the ones dealing with any outstanding issues in Europe, other than the words Interpol. There are a lot of things we don't know. The only thing we know is that the SEC has a deadline and it's approaching rapidly. So that is the latest there. Nick Hellman, of course, from Crypto Paradise, says no live streaming until the Interpol case is settled as well. I would agree with that. Yeah. So that is the play on at the moment. So that is on Nuclear Herbs, and he's kind of the lawyer guy, been commentating, doing some good commentaries. So yeah, that is that. All right, so I'll post a link to Nuclear Herbs if you guys want to keep track of that, because he might make a post in a few hours, who knows. And you can check that out there. So he also has I think he's got a website where he teaches about law for those that want to pick up a bit of stuff around that too. So you can check that out on his PulseChain Law School. Yeah, PulseChain Law School, nuclearherbs.com. All right, so this is the website, right? This is the court listener that we've been getting a lot of documents from. Not all the documents, because it's gone Pacer. You got to buy them on Pacer, but there's nothing on this yet. Yeah, we'll post this in the chat as well. If you guys want to follow that, may have to keep refreshing in a couple of hours. Maybe the letter will pop up. Maybe no letter comes, and maybe nothing happens because the deadline is just met, and then that's it. It's too late, baby. I'm not sure around the process there. So that is the link to Court Listener for those that want to follow on. All right, that leads us into PulseChain. Pulse gains. Unfortunately, no gains today, but gains in the future if you buy cheap, buy low, sell high. Like that's the play. So day 788 since PulseChain launched on the 30th of May, 2023. And here we are, quadruple 0258, down 5% after yesterday's little green candles. Now, here's the funny part. I'm going to tell you the funny part was I think Crypto Coffee posted a post yesterday, said, oh, green candles today. Let's hope it stays up more than one day. And I've heard that from other people today. It is pretty crazy. Yeah. Oops, you just answered my questions. Thanks, says Trev. I'm not sure what your question was. What it was. So the SEC is done now. Hopefully, yes. This is the final of the final repeal. This is kind of the last. They failed last time in the courts, and then this gave them 60 days to bring up something new, is the way I understand it. And of course, that has fallen away. So it's pretty much in for the SEC case, and therefore, it gives a PulseChain, Hex, PulseX, and Hex. Not a security kind of stuff, so it really gives us more protection than any other blockchain, I think, on the planet. So pretty cool. I think even Coinbase and others are still doing work on their cases. So all right, so what do we got here? So that is pretty much where we are on Pulse. At the moment, PulseX at the moment is down 6.6% at quadruple 0196. And we are, what do we got here? The ratio to Pulse is 0.76. We're going to pull it up today, shall we? Because I think that's pretty important. The buy and burn is at 7.36%. And the incentive token, $1.48, is down 6.6%. And Hex at the moment is at 0.6 of a penny, down 9.3%. That was the big mover yesterday. And EHEX there at 1900th of a penny. Combined price EX and PX is sitting at 7900th of a penny. And of course, once this moves, it's going to move fast, guys. That's all I'm going to say. Obviously, we've been waiting for some time for that to happen, but with the SEC disappearing, honestly, guys, the market makers are going to make it move, and we've got all the bullish roadmap ahead. It really is the time. If any was a time in history, time for ramping up into the end of the year is here. I really find it very impossible for not to see that. So bullish case up at 99%. That's pretty much it. Right there, we got what else? Thanks for streaming. We got living my best life. I appreciate that. It's a pleasure to stream. Brandon's in house there. 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks. Hopefully not. Probably 2 more weeks. Probably, well, definitely September with the interest rate cuts. Definitely got to be the trigger. But I'm expecting bullish things before then. All right, so that is where we are on the markets. Let's go to the gas prices. We've had pretty low gas prices. 1.4 million beats, 1 cent for a PulseX swap. Looking at the validators, we've got 52,000 validators. So after yesterday's move up higher, we've increased about 600 validators this week or so, maybe 800 even. So that's been pretty good. We got bridge values there. Let's go to that. 84.3 million. So not bad at all. And of course, I've got a snapshot from the 3rd. So it's the 8th now. So it's about 5 or 6 days. We were at 81.6. We're now at 84.3. So that's kind of cool. So we're up about $2.8 million by my accounts. So that is pretty cool. 2.8 million in about 5 days. So everyone, got to be happy about that. At least it's heading in the right direction. A lot of that is, of course, the we have had stable coins move, DAI move up, ETH move up, the USDC slightly up. Obviously, the value of Hex was slightly up. That's been probably one of the big contributors is the EHEX move. Obviously, shaving off a little bit today. Bang, bang, bang. Late gang. Frank White's in the house there. Frank White. All right, so that is where we are. Let's check out the latest data. As you guys know, exclusive to the Crypto Night Show. Not only the Monster Thread and things like that, but we also got the bridge. And, of course, the dates here, I just realized I haven't updated, but it's actually the 8th of July, so it's actually more update. But this is the every hourly candle. So you can see the green candles are every hour. The red candles are the money leaving PulseChain. The green candles are money coming into PulseChain. And, of course, this is around almost 4 weeks ago now. It's almost getting into a month. And this is what we had overnight. So we had some big stuff leave. Unfortunately, that is the bad news. We had 553 move like 2 days ago. Then we had yesterday like 430. I think it was actually this morning. Actually, yeah, this was early in the morning, or at least late. No, I think it was like 11 o'clock last night, my time. Obviously, I'm in the future about 19 hours from everybody else, but 433,000 left. So, yeah, we still had some big money, obviously around the tariffs, right? Probably around the tariff period. Well, that's probably just before the tariff period, actually. And then we had, obviously, 211K leave earlier today. But then after that 211, we had some nice money come in. We had 213,000 come in to save the day. That helped offset that money going out the hour before. So that was kind of good. That blinked out, but we still had that. We still had that 434 going out. Remember, there's a timestamp value, so they're not dynamic, not moving with the market prices. Otherwise, this thing would be all over the place, probably. But we have our worst case scenario after the Iranians. Sounds like Back to the Future. Remember the Iranians in the van running around, and down 4.7 million. And we're back up here now. We had a nice little rally back down to negative 2.2 million, and then we got down to negative 3.2, and then we're back now at 3 million basically. So we're still negative 3 million on timestamp values, but we're heading, slowly heading in the right direction, and hopefully we'll get a good week ahead of us. Just a good week, just like we had a bad week. We'll get a good week, and we'll start heading back into the zero, and then maybe even into the surplus there, and that would be a good sign of where PulseChain is going, right? Capital flows, just one major indicator. It's definitely a major indicator because obviously that's money coming onto the chain, and of course that will ultimately drive value, right? And then we get our big X returns, right? Our big X returns. I feel like we should bring out pump calendar, the old pump thing. Let's do that, later on. We're going to do a little bit extra there. Hopefully I have time. So that is the bridge. We'll keep a track of that, right? Moving to our volumes at the moment, we've got, should we go full screen again? Let's do that. Let's go full screen. So our volumes, we're at $18.9 million, 24-hour volume. So definitely down from our 28 million or wherever we had yesterday and the day before. But yeah, 18.8 million. The top performers today, we got 17 hours ago, got a new token called America Party. Now, I have seen a lot of these guys running around Telegram shilling this American thing. So, take note, be careful out there, guys. But that is up there at the moment. We got Kefrain. It's been around for 9 hours. So I'm not endorsing any of these, right? We're just going through the list that's trending. That's up 6,200%, been around for 9 hours. We always get some new coins. Today, actually, we haven't really had a lot of new coins on the leaderboard for some time, but today seems like we've got a couple. So we've got Peg here as well, Peginator. Peginator. It reminds me of, was it the Revenge of the Nerds, the Peginator? It reminds me a little bit of that. it's up 500%. So it's been around for 5 hours. They're all that's got really small liquidity, so just take note of that. But it's at 11K at 4.4. We got lots of these on PulseChain. Now, getting into some of the big forks, we've got Compound, right? That is up 83%. And of course, we have the compound theory around PDI, right? The compound theory around PDI. And of course, with the governors, everyone's hoping the governors are going to do something there. But, PDI doesn't really just need that. It's also got, it's got Betterbank coming, and that's a modified fork of Aave that's going to, put demand pressure and take away supply with that. So, it's going to be pretty cool. We got a linker as well, up around 6 months. It's up 50%. So, and we've got G-Baby. Now, I think G-Baby is associated to... is that associated to James Murray? I think I'd have to double check on that, but it's something like that. Brendan, I think G-Baby. That's up 40%, $7.60. Beast making a bit of a move today, up 17.7% off. Is that 35 cents now? It was down at 30 cents yesterday. Teddy Bear Takeover also on the move, actually. So we've got quite a few exotics today. This is very different little setup of tokens we've got running today than we have been normally, right? That's interesting. Teddy Takeover up 17% after being sold off aggressively, right? Let's have a quick look at Teddy Takeover. And of course, coming off the bottom there, we got all the way down to 1,200 of a penny, almost back at 0.2 of a penny here. But that got sold off pretty aggressively. G-Baby part of a Atropa Web. Yeah, so I got that right, James Moran. So that's cool. Thanks, Brennan. Brennan's our TA guru in the Discord. If you haven't joined up the Discord, links in the video description. I highly recommend you join up. Only $35 a month for Strategy Club. It really is great value. There are people offering things out there for thousands of dollars that you're only going to get this little incy-bincy amount of information. So definitely get in there. I do monthly reports on the crypto market, not just PulseChain, but all of crypto and a lot of cool other projects coming up, including obviously we cover Titan X, we cover X1 and many other topics, AI coins, all that sort of stuff. So get in there. And of course, we also do regular updates in there as well. In fact, it's been overload lately. Also, obviously, strategy chats and many other cool things. So definitely get in there. And our top 10 index, you get access to that too. That is all in Strategy Club. Join up today. Only $35 a month. Very good value. And of course, if you want to join up as just a standard community member, that is a $12.50 a month in our private Discord. Join up today. Discord's a really great place. They're a lot better place than Telegram, but Telegram's good for other things. Let's say that way. Telegram is good for other things. So there we go. One's like Discord's more like an investor, more considered environment, whereas Telegram's more like a speculative, more gambly environment. Let's put it that way. That's kind of the differences there. Let's see. Brennan says super drop in alpha in strategy chat. Yeah, that's right. So join up today, Strategy Club, and links in the video description. All right, so 0.2 of a penny there. Let's jump back out and get into some other stuff here. We got Remember from OG WebChef up 15.7%. We got Pump Tires Die is up 15% today at 00058. Actually just flipped Remember there. Did you like that? We got Reserve Tay up 13% as well. So we got some good little movers, double digits. We're up to number 12 at the moment. What else do we got? Missile, another OG WebChef up 9%. That's number 16. We have seen OG WebChef stuff move quite nicely over the last couple of days. We've got Finvestor there. Actually, it was down yesterday, but the days before. Finvestor there, $13.89. Finvestor's are kind of like the parent, isn't it, from OG WebChef? That is up 8%. UFO from PDC The Greys up 6.4%. They've been doing some nice work with Crypto Paradise, which I think are on holiday at the moment at the beach. Have you seen some of their videos? It's like in the lake, and not the beach, in the lake, and they're doing some crazy stuff. Crypto Paradise guys, they really do live their theme, as it were. Pretty cool. We got Dominance at the moment up 5%. We got BFF up 5% there, so more OG WebChef stuff. CDI, so Compound Die. So we've already got Compound making a big move today, up 80%. Only on small liquidity, right? 11K liquidity. Just want to note that, but 48K volume, giving that nice big return there. We've also got CDI down here. Another derivative here, up 2% at the moment. Just on the teetering about losing a zero. Just about losing a zero there. Let's have a quick look on CDI. And it has gone down after the rally. Look at that rally it had. Beautiful. Went to 8 zeros, 12, and now it's back down to 9 zeros. But, just a little bit higher to get back to 8 zeros again. But, that was a nice little pump up there at the moment. Now, obviously, very volatile, these kind of things. You're running with the narrative and the momentum. So, take care out there. What else there? Phoenix is up 1% up. X is up 1% on the back of Pulse. Love.io is up 1% almost. Let's have a quick look at Love.io. Obviously, Anders, we had Anders on the show the other day. And of course, he's into Love.io. He's also into PDI. He's also into PDI. I think is he also into PDC? I think he is. But we got at 5 zeros, 3,500 after a nice little rally. It has also taken profits there. So we're seeing this theme, happening a lot. A lot of these tokens that have been rallying, just a bit of profit taking going on. Everything else pretty much is out of the money at the moment. X is slightly green, Pulse up slightly green, everything else. So that gets us to 33%. So 1/3 of the coins in the top 100 here trending 24 hours are in green. The rest of them are slightly out of the money. And you can see many of your favorites down here, including my Magnificent 7, right? Solid X, PDC, and Saw Sun Mini Mill. All three of my Magnificent 7 all out of the money today. So there we go. We're all waiting more news from all of those. What should happen today is the Saw Sun Mini Mill buy and burn should kick back in. It seems to stop in the weekend. So just remember that. Just remember the buy and burn stops. And maybe they're going to do a catch up. Maybe they'll do 22K tonight. Keep a lookout. Will they do 22K or 11K? We shall see. Brennan says P Compound making moves before finalize of SEC case. Says Brennan. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a good observation. All right, let's jump over to what else? Let's jump out. That's pretty much where we are at the moment. Let's see what the worst is actually in the top 100. We've got Hex pulling back down to 0.6 of a penny. And we've got a few others. Gas Money, Your Mum, ALGO on the back of Hex. Oversold, and Ring One Meme down the bottom there. All right. That leads us into what? The monster thread? Yeah, let's do that. So the monster thread today. And I might go back to this view, probably a little bit more sophisticated. But the monster thread there from MBS Crypto, the editor-in-chief. This is a publication of the Kryptonite Show. So let's post the link to that. So monster thread just came out so yesterday, and monster thread 9, PulseChain weekly news, weekly news, and it's got all the hottest stuff. So definitely check that out. It's got some of the top teams on there as well, so you're going to see a bit of everything there, and that is the link to that. Let me just post that. Bam. That's the monster thread there. And don't forget to give myself and MVS a follow while you're in there. And don't forget to repost. Reposting is very important. Now, this is the only publication on PulseChain at the moment. We've got more planned coming soon. But definitely perfect for onboarding people with all the latest news on PulseChain, all the communities. And it covers just about everybody out there. If they're doing something newsworthy, they'll make it into the monster thread. It doesn't matter what it is. Whether it's DeFi, NFTs, artwork, whatever it is, they'll be in there. Music, DJing, you get it. They will get in there if they're doing something that's within the last week. So definitely check that out. And we also have some of the top teams in there as well. So if you want to get in on that, hit me up or MVS Crypto to get on that. It is a professional part of the post, but the rest of it is really just all the news on PulseChain. So get in there, folks. And share that around. It really will help with the growth. And of course, when we start taking off, we're going to have 3, 5, 10 times more people around, right? Definitely get out there, folks. It's really, really good for that. Let's get into it. So we got the headline, Richard's master plan, Georgia's performance, PulseX conference, and much more. Obviously, Richard Hart there talking about shipping out all these electronic devices, potentially millions of those in different container ships. And then, of course, he's talked about 400,000 shipping labels. Got shipping machine here. This has had hundreds of thousands of views on Rich Hart's post. Pretty cool. We got PulseChain Law School for nuclear herbs. I talked about that quickly before. So check that out. If you love law and you want to learn a bit more about that with Hex and PulseChain, definitely check that out. PulseX conference with RH Max. So that's pretty cool. And that is coming up as well. I will be speaking that on day 2 as part of talking about the monster thread itself, actually. And of course, we got Pulse TV Blockbuster. I've loved these. I played one of these back in March of Richard Hart on one of these Pulse TV things. It is hilarious. And it's had Richard Hart. It's just like Richard Hart but cartoon. It was awesome. Shout it out. Pulse TV's brand new receipts rap masterclass. And of course, that was Somni pushing that out there, and it was pretty funny. We've got Hex Fashion Store, of course. So we've got a lot of cool shops posting up. There's a good, I don't know, it's a good half a dozen at least that I really like that are in the shop store. You can get t-shirts and caps and all sorts of things. Hex Fashion unveiled a new website with cyberpunk neon style crediting Gerardo, and Cypherus as well. So if you do want to maybe get a new website that looks really cool, check out Hex Fashion. And it's a really cool Neo one. They've Cyberpunk. And if you want to get hold of that, hit up maybe Gerardo there, and they can help you out there. So that's kind of cool. Happy July the 4th, of course. We had Hodbril and the ladies there. So yeah, pretty awesome. We had Crypto Clays and Hodbril both out there doing a great show for Happy the 4th of July. So that was pretty cool. You can see the picture of them there, and they're having a great time in that show. They had a few technical issues, but other than that, it was a good show. Hex Scout on ramp boosted. Hex. Now this is major. I cannot say how big this is. This is major, guys. Moving from 3,000 euros to 10,000 euros, allowing larger Hex, PulseX, and Ink and USDC purchases. This is really big, so obviously, a lot of the retail market, 3,000 euros is a very fine amount at individual purchases, but the bigger players definitely want to do more. If you're thinking about bringing 100,000 euros onto PulseChain, you can do that in 10 lots for now rather than trying to do it in 30 lots or so. So it is a big deal there. Liquid loans, and we know they're going to move to 50, right? So that's going to be pretty important. They're going to move to 50. But the way that ramp now works is that they forward the liquidity, right? So they have to bring the liquidity in. So that has to be all be funded. So just take note of that. So they need bigger liquidity requirements. And so, typically they've been bringing in, several times a day, bringing in about, I think 30,000, 35,000 USDC, but they're going to have to bring in even more now to front run all of the land, because what they do is they bring liquidity first so they can do the deal straight away. And then, they can do the processing. So that's kind of the play there. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal though. This is really big for money. You want more money coming to PulseChain? That is a big deal. That is one of the key foundations there. Liquid loans, of course, spotlighting, doing a lot of cool stuff. We haven't really seen much from Liquid loans. They've got all their products out, so they've delivered all their products, and of course they've been working on a new one with the Coin Zone, and they're trying to get an audience outside of PulseChain, right? So they've been doing that, and yeah, that is coinzone.com. Now they were talking about doing some partnership with a big platform. I haven't heard much about that. But they are doing a lot of work around this Coin Zone, trying to get new people interested in obviously crypto and PulseChain. So that was kind of the play there. But they've covered a lot of their projects. You can check all that out. HODL one, Rack and Michelle put out. This is something I talked about a long time ago. Is that if you just bought one P wrap Bitcoin, that could be your game. You know how everyone talks about one Bitcoin. Just have one Bitcoin. Now they talk about having just 0.1 Bitcoin, right? And then it's the same on PulseChain. Who knows what could happen there, right? Highly scarce and so forth. So that was from Rack and Michelle. Checked it out. So big shout out there. Rack and Michelle, of course, one of our two big public whales. Whale wallet review, of course. Kaleidocope there did a big whale review of a whale wallet on PulseChain. That was pretty cool. Checked it out. PulseChain Cafe Thailand, and this is what I really love. Thailand, of course, another big community on PulseChain. It's great to see all these communities around the world. Obviously, the blockchain and the internet is global, and it's good to see people around the world celebrating and getting involved in Hex and PulseChain. And then got a cool picture there. But some of the people, there are a lot more people actually at the cafe. But there's two of the guys showcasing their t-shirts, and they got "Welcome to PulseChain. We love you." So a big festival there. Or a big party there at the cafe, and this is PulseChain Cafe Thailand, and they've got all this artwork that you don't see in here, but if you go to the actual links, you'll see all the artwork there in the post. So definitely check those out. We got Georgia's performance, does some hilarious performance there as well. Check all that out. Georgia's Korea, Georgia, very very funny. Big beautiful bill. Obviously, Donald Trump passed all that, and it's going to have a big deal for stablecoins and potentially flowing onto PulseChain and crypto. Rhinos in Paradise announced a new protocol launching, and that's along with Crypto Paradise. Definitely go check that out. That's coming up, I'm thinking, about 2 days, maybe 2 or 3 days launch for RhinoFi. So looking forward to that. Dirty Bitcoins theory, speculated on Roger Ver being the potential whale, or was it Richard Hart around the ABC? Of course, we discovered that earlier. Definitely check out Dirty's view on that. And then breaking hog news, of course, new characters in Pulse of the Fallen. Obviously, this is going crazy. Everyone's loving this anime. It's pretty much synonymous with PulseChain now, almost. And of course, they've done a big, awesome partnership the last couple of weeks with Radon. And Radon has just launched, I think, their Rage token and Rage farms on Nexium, which is one of our top farms now, right? So pretty cool artwork there. You can sort of see the artwork. It's looked pretty brutal this episode, but this woman is pretty crazy. Now this will be some more There'll be some new PulseChain influencers, no doubt. So some of the females entering the mix there on anime. You got to get that, but pretty badass. It's going to be brutal. All right, so there we go. That is it. Full capture reveal below. So you can check all that. There are some honorable mentions as well. Crypto Smith predicted 250% hex surge. We got CML Crypto ranked hex third most voted project. That was pretty cool. Internet Money, obviously official PulseChain page feature. And then we got Kobe Bryant, their poker tournament. And then finally, Fast Abdul, Hex Pulse Ninjas Fight SEC stream. So there we go. That was pretty popular. Some good people were there. So definitely worth checking it out. We also got some cool promo posts today. We got Hog and Radon. And I think Radon, Hog's obviously got the new episodes coming out. And Radon there is just launched its raid token, I think today. So you can definitely check it out. Look at that cool stuff there with the post. I'll let you read through it all. I don't want to front run all those posts. So get out and read them. It's a great story there for Crypto Paradise and, of course, Rage and Greed and Radon. We got MVS Crypto talking about Function Island here. So yield farms are live on the old Function Island. So get some pretty staggering yields on these. We're talking about thousands of percent yields here on the old Function Island. So definitely check those out for the yield tokens. So you're earning yield, but you can post or you can basically stake all your favorites, PulseX, etc. It is really cool. And they've got some good partner tokens with Radon, Oink, and Emmett and stuff like that. So all top tier farming yields. And they got a cool giveaway as well. So definitely check out that for the old Function Island. I love the little truck there driving on the little beach, farming on the Paradise. Then we've got Crypto Paradise there as well. Surfers making waves on PulseChain. Now this team is amazing, doing amazing stuff, and all the teams on here are doing some incredible things, offering high yields. And of course, this team is pretty amazing. Look at them, a bunch of fun guys. So yeah, Nick Hellman, Amar, and Nate there doing a pretty good job. So yeah. Check it all out. And of course, they've got some cool things happening with their DAO. This is, if you like PDC, there's another big DAO team on PulseChain, and definitely well worth checking out there as well. You earn some nice rewards and Pulse as well. The DAO there, 200,000 surf tokens. You can make a big, nice little move there. So check that out. And then finally, we also got Emmett as well. Emmett, of course, one of the top farms on PulseChain. Also offering some cool stuff. Just did a new partnership with Actuator Farm. And of course, you can take your Actuator tokens plus their HTT 5,000 and 7,000 tokens and pair those up as well and get some really nice returns there on the Actuator Farm. You can see all the new ones there on Emmett Farms. So big shout out to Kairos and the team doing some cool stuff. They've also got an airdrop. So a couple of these teams got airdrops time today. This is pretty cool. So yeah, up to over $500. I think it's over $700 worth of airdrops there in the Telegram. You join the Telegram, get involved. And you can get airdrops there of those tokens, kind of neat. So yeah, very cool, accelerating there, and see the collabs, getting a lot more collaboration starting. And then finally, obviously, the Crypto Night Show there. Join up today, Strategy Club there. There's the link. You can join up to that today as well. So I'll post the link to the monster. That is right there, and don't forget to share it around. Right, this is the perfect onboarding tool for people to hear about all the latest news over the last week. Honestly. And as you guys know, we are living and breathing PulseChain as well as the rest of crypto. So join today, the Crypto Night Show. That's all I can say on that one. All right. Now, I was going to do an extra bonus round, even though we're up to an hour and 12 minutes. I was going to do a bonus round on the ratio to what was I doing? I think it was, we're going to do two things, actually. We're going to go check up PDI, and we're going to also check up on Rat Bitcoin price. We're also going to do check up and do PulseX. I want to do PulseX chart. You can't stop me. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. All right. Someone says, I'm going to rug. You're going to get rugged. You're going to get rugged. All right. So we're going to check out PulseX. We're going to do the ratio analysis on that. So yeah, bonus round. Bonus. I need more sound effects. I need more sound effects here. Let me go to the music. Have I got what sound effects I got? I got the horn. All right, that's. I got the magic. All right, so we got the magic there. Let's go back into it and let's get a bit more serious here. But let's jump back into which view am I going to go to? Full screen. Are we going full screen? Let's go full screen. And of course, don't forget, it is, if you guys know, it is a special day today, PulseChain Independence Day, and we're only like 2 hours away or something from the end of that, theoretically speaking. So fingers crossed there. Let's celebrate. Oh, that's not working. Oh, great. All right, let's try that one more time. Oh, there it goes. It goes. It's gone. All right, we got the fireworks. That's brilliant. There we go. Is it going twice? I don't know. I don't know if it's going twice, but there's the fireworks. All right, so let's get into before we get into PulseX, let's get into where PDI is at the moment. So PDI is sitting at 51/100th of a penny, still up today, up 28% for the week to 2.84% for today, sitting at 5100, so just over half a cent. What's our wrap Bitcoin? It's $680, up to 8% for the week, 2.2% today. So those are doing pretty well. What else is on the move, particularly overnight, that's on this list on Pulse Coin List? Yeah, Compound up 82%. So not surprised there at all. And what else is on the move there? G Baby is up 37%, matched to James Maria stuff. And then we got the Pi Show. I'm not really sure what that one is, but it's up 37%. And PulseChain is also PulseChain. Yeah, just a long time since we've seen that one up there. What else there? Cardano is actually up 12.4. Not sure which token that is, but that is up as well. And I think that's it. Is it? The Federal Deposit Insurance, that's up 27%. Not too sure about that one either, but there we go. And Atropa itself is actually down 34% today. Surprise, surprise. Weird stuff going on there. All right, that's going to lead us into the main event, which is not the main event, just our bonus event. That is the weekly candle here on PulseX. So yeah, we're at just under 2,000. We're at the bottom, and we got a little W forming. I don't know, Brennan. We're gonna have a little. I guess early times here, but have a little W form. In any case, let's look at the ratio to pulse, which is really what I want to look at here. And bam, we are still defending that long run line there. We closed above, right? We closed above, and so here we are at the moment at 75. So one PulseX will get you 0.75 pulse at the moment. It may very well, I don't know, if it comes down to here, may very well do that, down to 0.73, and then hopefully we bounce off that, right? So it has been pretty good. We've been holding that pretty well as well. So let's see how that goes. And we have kind of, would have to bounce at 0.73. We're at 0.75 at the moment. So we're keeping a look at the PulseX. Now, remember, Pulse is slightly inflationary. You know, we have validators get block rewards, and then we have a fee burning, right? And that's EIP 1509, right? So that's the Ethereum setup. So we do have that. So it's slightly inflationary every year, whereas PulseX is not. PulseX is just deflationary, right? So it gets a part of the fees that are trading. Goes and buys and burns PulseX, right? So we're at what, 7.36, I think it was, something like that, percent of the buy and burn, and so that is continually getting burned off. So it's not the ultimate indicator of where we're going, but it's basically this is over time just getting scarcer on PulseX, and has that buy and burn ability as well. So I'll keep a lookout for that. Now, obviously, any protocols that come along with their second layer protocols or with the Richard Art stuff that comes along and uses PulseX in particular is always going to help lift that ratio, right? So because Pulse is the medium of exchange, it is the ocean upon which the PulseX ship is floating on, right? So we'll keep a lookout for that. But that is pretty awesome. Let's see how that goes at the moment. So definitely a good pick up there on the ratio. And of course, if you'd picked it up down the bottom here, the ratio was a quarter of a pulse. So you would have one PulseX would have got your quarter. But we got up to here in the week of February earlier this year, and you would have got more pulse. So you'd have made mad gains there, wouldn't you? Mad gains on that part of the curve there. Would have been pretty awesome. You'd have been up 4x on your pulse. You'd have four times more pulse there. So not bad. All right, how we doing? Hour and 18 minutes. Time to finish. We've got Francia in the house there. Hello. Welcome, Francia, to PulseChain Independence Day. I just need more sound effects, but that is pretty cool. Okay, we're going to do it one more time. Here we go. Bam. All right. What happened there? It got stuck. Got stuck on my screen. Oh, there it goes. On your screen, it's fine. It's delayed like 8 seconds, so I can see it, but it's delayed like 8 seconds. There we go. All right, so congratulations, PulseChain Independence Day. We're only, by my count, we're only 2.5 hours away from the end of the day, and therefore that should be done and dusted. Like I say, I'm not sure whether a letter will be posted on the SEC, maybe the court will post something saying, hey, look, there's been no appeals and therefore it's fallen over, or whether they just let it fall away. And then that's just it. That's just what it is. All right, so bring on the bull market. Bring on God Mode Candles. And shall we hear from Richard Hart? I said I was going to talk to Richard Hart, so maybe we'll go talk to Richard Hart as well. Oh, I've just moved a little bit there. Let's see what Richard Hart has to say about God Mode Candles. Richard, hey, Richard, are you there? Richard. Sorry, I'm just having a few troubles getting Richard. Oh, well, looks like Richard Hart's here. I'm just going to open the door, guys. Just give me a second. I'm just going to open the door. I'm just going to just one moment. Oh, what? Look, I've got Richard Hart here. Richard Hart here today, so he's going to talk about, we may get God Mode Candles. Listen.
You could get a God candle at any moment. You could get a giant green candle at any moment, because it's easier to get them, because it takes less economic energy, because there's less of it for sale.
Well, thanks very much, Richard. I appreciate that. We look forward to God Mode Candles, and we really do look forward to any pumpeliciousness and onwards and upwards from there. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I'll leave you with Raoul Paul, the billionaire, and the bananas on the way out, and I'll catch you guys again tomorrow. PulseChain Independence Day. It's got to be only up from here. Everything is so bullish moving forward. We've still got a little volatility around the tariffs, but I'm sure we're heading in the right direction. And Trump's continuing to work on world peace in a number of countries, and doing pretty good so far. And so we'll get there in the end and bring it on. All right, take care. Peace out, everybody.
Not a mystery. It is a repeat of the debt cycle. They are rolling the debts. They are doing the same thing. Each cycle is not to do with a halving cycle, nothing to do with any of that. It's all driven by liquidity cycle and funding of debts. Each phase, we get phase one of the banana zone, banana number one. The corrective zone, banana number two comes. Another correction, banana number three. So this is the banana zone. So that's what happened in 2020. 2021, off we go. Sorry, that was 2017, which again looks very similar to this one. That was the last one. Here we are now. It can't be clearer to me. I've shown you the macro evidence, the technical evidence, the sentiment evidence. Everything here suggests to me that hold on to your hats, don't fuck this up, don't lose control of your tokens, don't use leverage, don't get your wallets hacked, just sit with it, be careful, don't get FOMO, do all of the right things, and we'll go up to the next phase of correction zone. That's going to be harder, because the next one that happens, we'll have a 35% drop, and you'll all say, is it over? And you'll definitely be sure it's over, and everybody on Twitter will tell you it's over, and it won't be over. By our work, we suggest that because of the elongation of the business cycle, because rates were higher for longer, the forward-looking liquidity suggests that, again, probabilistically speaking, without any guarantees, this whole thing goes into Q1, maybe Q2 of 2026, which would align with Trump's, trying to win the midterms as well. So everything's lined up for us. I think it started. So keep the faith, keep building stuff, and let's keep driving Siri forward with all of this. Thank you.